What's up, everybody? I'm Rick,
And I'm Anna.
and welcome to our review of The Dark Knight Returns.
Come have fun with us and don't forget to subscribe.
For those of you who don't know, this is our bucket list channel, a channel in which we try to realize the goals and dreams that are on our bucket list. One of those
All of them.
goals is to read The Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
And how did that come about? Basically, we're fans of comic book properties, Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, etc. But more so in terms of the things surrounding them rather than the comic books. We rarely read comic book.
That's true. We watch the movies,
the animated
watch the
shows,
cartoons,
the
yes.
games, etc. But we never took the time to read comic books. So a bunch of goals on our bucket list were specifically targeted at famous storylines and reading them in actual comic form.
Yeah.
Which is why we decided to do this goal, The Dark Knight Return, and we also did a couple of other goals you can see in the background, Infinity Gauntlet, and we did Watchmen, etc. So this is the latest in that series of goals. So Anna.
Yes.
The Dark Knight Return. You've just finished reading it.
That is true.
Finished reading it yesterday. Before we get into our thoughts, I wanted to give you a bit of information about the comic itself,
yes.
how it came about,
Please
etc.
do so.
Yes. So, The Dark Knight Returns is a 1986 4-issue comic book miniseries starring Batman, written by Frank Miller, illustrated by Miller and Klaus Jensen, and published by DC Comics. Of course, a bit of a background on the importance of this comic. So, angry parents in the 50s were angry at the comic book for, perverting the youth. And so the comic codes of authority was established. And after that point in time, Batman's character drifted from his darker tone to a more like comic and, campy style, like the Adam West TV show.
Okay.
And it wasn't until like the 70s and 80s that it came back to its more darker root. And this comic in particular was one of the, big comeback for dark Batman.
Okay, so it's a little bit like mirroring the story too.
So the plot, you've read it, have read it. If you're watching this, we're gonna spoil it. So if you don't know the plot,
attention!
Yeah.
Spoilers everywhere.
Exactly.
Starting now.
But in general, the plot is The Dark Knight Return tells an alternative story where Bruce Wayne, 55 years old, returns from retirement to fight crime and face opposition from Gotham City Police and the United States government. So let me talk a bit about the influence of this. Maybe you've realized as you were reading the movie Batman v Superman draws influence from this comic.
I thought so.
Obviously.
I didn't know. I don't know if there are other storylines that have similar encounters between the two, but I thought that.
So while the film does have an original story, it's not the same story. It does borrow some element from The Dark Knight Returns, like an older, more hardened Batman who lost Jason Todd Robin in his younger years, and also Batman and Superman's confrontation, the big bat suit at the end that he uses, very similar to the one in the movie, and also some shots are literally just recreated from the comic and
in the movie. Yeah. Okay, I see.
And there was also an animated movie made off of
after this comic. Okay.
Yeah. And several sequels were also made. So that was pretty much all the information I had. So Anna, first of all, tell me, what did you think of this comic?
I mean, I really liked it. I really like the style. Like you were saying earlier, this like dark kind of mysterious style. I really liked it. I don't find it particularly easy to read. I had to go back like panels to reread sections of it to figure out like, wait, what are they talking about here? Because it feels like sometimes they're just dropping things or they're just switching scenes like so in the middle of the action.
Yeah, you felt like sometimes things were disconnected?
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes I felt like, wait, am I missing something? And I have to go back and reread. So I don't find it easy to read, honestly. But I do find it very interesting. And as I said, the style in particular really appeals to me. This like I don't know, it reminds me a little bit of like the noir detective, dramas or something like this. That like everything happens in the shades, in the night. A lot of the panels are drawn just like outlines, just like shadows of bodies. You don't actually see that many details. But it gives you like a very, I don't know, it gives you shivers as you read it. So I really like that. I like the effect that it created, and I feel like it matches a lot with the character of like an older Batman, right?
Yeah.
That's how he would see things, like everything is dark. I mean, from a more of like a psychological perspective, he's been doing this for so long, and then when he feels like he can't do it anymore, he stops. But then for the next decade, he realizes that he probably didn't have much of an impact, that things keep getting worse, So like you kind of feel the heaviness of his character as he comes back, also through the art style. Like I really liked it.
Yeah, I also really enjoyed it. I can see what you meant by like it being like disjointed at some point, or like feeling like, oh wait, does this connect? But what I liked is that if you keep going, it always connects back.
Yeah,
like,
that is true.
As you're reading, maybe you're thinking, oh wait, what is this character coming out of nowhere? But then you keep reading and you're like, okay, then this is...
That's what it is about,
and I feel like Watchmen kind of had a similar style, because they interject different narrations and like even the story of the pirates and different stuff into it that makes you think like, wait...
what am I reading now?
Yeah, but then it comes back and connect into the general story.
And I wanted to mention one more thing. Sorry, I forgot. I liked how a lot of the story of what's happening is told through the news like channels. Reporting on it, and like commenters talking about what's happening and giving opinions. You kind of feel a little bit like you don't actually get the full story as it happens, but rather you get it as you would if you were just a regular person living in that place in those times, who doesn't really know for sure. Like, I don't know for sure what is Batman actually doing, what is actually happening out there in the world. All I see is, I don't know, what they show on the news, and everybody has opinions and there's witnesses on both sides, and you kind of get part of the story like that. I mean, of course we see what Batman is doing, but not to like that much of an extent. And there are some incidents that are entirely related only by like witnesses, So I thought that was also like a very interesting storytelling technique for a comic book,
Yeah, no, I thought it was really nice to not only use that as a way of telling us what has been happening, but also as a way of telling us what are the different mentalities at play here. Several times they bring back Lana Lang or the doctor, the psychiatrist who thinks Batman is crazy, and
who I have to tell, I don't think he's a good psychiatrist.
I mean,
he vouched to release 2 mentally unstable criminals from like the hospital. Like I don't know if I trust.
Didn't turn out well. Yeah,
I don't know that I trust his judgment as a psychiatrist.
But yeah, like with their constant debate about does the Batman pose a threat to society, it kind of set the tone and also makes you ask the question yourself, Well, I guess let's go. This has been kind of a free flowing conversation. Let's focus here on the character of Batman.
Yeah.
A certain element that I thought was interesting, arcing back again to Zack Snyder's Batman v Superman, there was a line that jumped at me because I remembered from the movie, but of course it's taken from here, where Superman says that when they were talking about the fact that, oh, now we're criminal, and Batman said, we've always been criminal.
Yeah.
That kind of thought process or mentality of not necessarily seeing yourself as the de facto good guy. If you say we're criminal, we have been criminal.
Right.
Which, in the purest sense of the law, yes, they all are.
Right.
But the fact that he vocalizes it kind of gives you a bit of insight into his psyche and how he sees himself, not necessarily as the good guy.
I don't know, I kind of feel, I like him when he said that, actually. I like that part of his character because it's about how you define a criminal, A criminal is someone who doesn't respect the law, who breaks the law. and he is aware, and he like takes responsibility for the fact that he breaks the law, right? So in that sense, yes, he's a criminal. You know, then there's the other side of it, which is that he only does it to, you know, do good, where the law stops, like the policemen or the politicians or whomever else
They
from
can't do
doing
it.
Yeah, they can't do it because the law stops them, but nothing stops him because he doesn't respect. Well,
Yeah.
the law should stop him, but it doesn't because he doesn't respect it, right? So yeah, in that sense, he is a criminal, but I feel like he says it in a way that makes you understand, like, oh yeah, you're a criminal because you're not respecting the law, but you're not doing the wrong thing, you know. You're not doing the wrong thing for the people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because I was bringing that point because a lot of the story is simultaneously a critique of Batman and a kind of endorsement of Batman
Yeah.
as a character. Where would you fall on that debate? Like, looking just at what happened here, you know, we're not talking about Batman in general.
In general, yeah.
Yeah, but just this character here who, like you said, breaks the law because he feels like he's doing it for a good cause, for a good reason. You know, we have to stop these criminals, etc., etc. But for a lot of people, that's not necessarily the right path to take.
Right.
Like the new commissioner that they bring in to replace Gordon is pretty adamant with it. Like, we're not gonna just let chaos take over and let this guy do whatever he wants. He has to respect the law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, I really agree on that because it's easy, like, to accept Batman doing this, just like his character, you know, because of the morality that he has, that we've seen, you know, over time. We see it here too, right? But then you see how that affects his surroundings.
There are copycats who...
There are, exactly,
Yeah.
there are people who do that, and they don't have the same kind of morality. Like, there was that news story of the guys following him, or the mutants, you know, when they start following him.
The Sons of Batman.
They call themselves the Sons of Batman, and they just cut the hands of someone who was trying to, like, steal a like chocolate bar and some magazines from a store, you know, like that, where there's no morality, that they don't have that sense of morality that Batman has. And so if you have this persona who, like, thinks that, you know, it's okay to not respect the law as long as I'm doing the right thing, you have to really trust that what you think is the right thing
is actually the right thing. Yeah.
You know, like, how far would you trust yourself?
There's no check and balance here.
Exactly. Like, if you had that kind of power, would you trust yourself to always make the right decision? And sure enough, Batman has made right decisions for the most part, I'm guessing. In this comic book in particular, I haven't seen him making a morally wrong decision, you know. But yeah, you have to take accountability for the fact that you're setting up a precedent for people to follow into your footsteps.
I mean, some would say that endangering the life of a little girl is a morally wrong decision too.
Oh, that is true. I didn't even think about that. He was really quick to accept her as the new Robin. And I did think that that was a little bit bizarre for his character, because I feel like he was always, like, he's always depicted as a loner. But and when he did have a sidekick, like Robin as a sidekick, I don't think that happened so lightheartedly. But I feel like here he just accepted it right away, and it doesn't really align.
But I feel like this was linked to his loss. You know, he stopped being Batman when Jason Todd died.
Yeah.
Robin, the previous Robin, and even before he sees her for the first time, he's remembering Dick Grayson. So I feel it was more emotional than rational.
Yeah.
And rationally speaking, you know, you don't let that 13-year-old girl who doesn't know how to fight.
Right, yeah, that's not...
get into this situation. Which brings me, I guess, to another character who's the other end of the spectrum here, Superman.
Oh, yes.
Superman who, after, you know, event transpired in which, you know, most heroes are shunned upon, found the only way to keep saving lives was to work with the United States government. And really now he's their lapdog.
Yeah, exactly.
For lack of a better word. He's even sent after Batman.
Right, and whatever he said, he just has to do whatever he's told. Like,
what do you think of that?
I don't know. Like, you have to understand, I also don't know the previous stories, like how did it get to this, but just dropping into this storyline,
But this is the beginning. Like Miller invents a whole universe with this.
but I mean, oh, okay, but
Yeah.
I mean,
This
like
is
they
an
don't, there's
alternative
nothing.
version of the DC universe.
I see. But we don't know like what happens before. We don't actually see it in another
details,
comic.
no.
Okay, so it's just what's mentioned here.
Hmm.
I don't like that. I feel like for as radical and, you know, above the law Batman is depicted here, Superman is a wuss. Seriously. I mean, you know, that's the thing. You want these people who have this like great power that is above the regular, like the human possibilities. You want them to have a stronger moral stance, you know, to have this sense of what justice really is. You see someone like that being like the bodyguard of the president, or like his like paid assassin or something like this. Like, no, you know. I feel like it takes everything away from the character that Superman should be. He is or should be the one who stands for all humanity. He wouldn't serve a country. He's not supposed to. That's what his character has evolved into. At least that's the Superman that I'm used to right now, you know. He doesn't serve a country. I know in the beginning that was more his character, you know.
True justice and the American way.
Yeah. We all know that, but I'm not really familiar with that Batman. I'm more, with that Superman. I'm more familiar with like the more recent Superman, who, as I said, stands for all humanity. And what I'm seeing here, I'm like, I don't like this Superman. I don't like him at all. I didn't want him to win against Batman. Like, I really didn't, you know.
Yeah.
Because he's not wrong. He's just he doesn't stand for something that he should believe in. He's like, oh, I'm grateful that they just let me save some lives here and there as long as I serve them.
As long as I do what I'm told, yeah.
That's not a compromise that a hero would do, you know? And that's what I'm saying. I feel like they're both radical, like on like opposite sides of the spectrum, you know? I'm not saying that Batman is completely right in this case too, and as Superman depicted him as being like mocking, you know, the laws and mocking the government, which led to them ending up in this situation, it's not the right way to do it either. But I feel like there should be a middle way, you know,
a middle ground
in which, you know what, we respect you, we're gonna try as much as possible not to interfere with whatever affairs you have as a government, but if people's lives are in danger, we will act,
jump in
and we're not gonna like wait for your approval. Like that's, I feel, more of a, you know, it's not 100%, it's not perfect, it doesn't completely respect the law, but I feel like it's a way that, you know, they could come to an agreement. And I feel like Superman hasn't even tried, from what I see here, you know.
Yeah,
it's
he's
like,
not really depicted as very likable, you know. For most readers, you read him just taking orders from Reagan and really not questioning it more than needs to. You know, he has this whole monologue about how, you know, Batman was used against them by the general public and by the government as an example of, oh, this is the danger of heroes. And so there's some resentment here probably, but again, it feels like Superman should be above that.
Yeah.
And even if there's no resentment, then he just goes after Batman because he's asked to. Like, he should also be above that.
No.
Another character that I want to touch on is Joker.
I knew that you would say that.
Yeah. Joker, of course, Batman's eternal enemy. Here he dies, actually.
He dies in like a very bizarre way. I don't think anyone can kill themselves like that, actually. Like, I don't know. Oh my goodness. Like, he twists his spine by himself. Like, oh.
But yeah, it's kind of a bizarre twist of fate because Batman was seemingly finally ready to kill him. You know, he was like, oh, every time I let you live, the people who die, they're on my hand. You know, their blood is on my hand, which is something that people have been saying for a long time. Why doesn't Batman just kill the Joker? And here it seems like he was about to do it, doesn't
do it.
And then the Joker kills himself.
Right.
Laughing at him like, oh, now they're gonna kill you for it because they'll think you did it.
Yeah, like, it's interesting what Joker did there, because I feel like Joker's character was always like that. Like, he always tried to push Batman into crossing
into
the line.
madness, into
Or yeah, exactly. And he always failed. I kind of like this ending because with his last effort, he still failed to push the Batman past that line. But in the end, he kind of like settled for just making him seem as if
he had crossed the line.
Yeah. So but I kind of like that, you know.
Because after that, there are murder charges against Batman, so people
exactly.
think he did kill the Joker.
Exactly.
Yeah. What did you think of the ending of the story, in which Batman fakes his death after the fight against Superman?
Honestly, the thing with superheroes and comic books in general is that they never die.
Yeah.
Like, seemingly never die, you know, even when it seems like they die, they come back. I feel like, you know, starting a storyline with a Batman who is 55 years old, I can't help but think, like, where do you take his story from here, you know? I feel like whatever you make of him now, you know, like, I don't think he would be, like, continue being Batman, like, actually fighting crime, but now he has all these people following him, you know? He has, like, a whole new plan that he's apparently working on. We're not sure what it is. Would it be enough for him? You know? Would it ever top his days of crime fighting?
Yeah.
And I don't know, because you can't really say of being into the light, because he was always operating more in the shadows,
dark,
in the dark. But you know what I mean, where it was like just him and the night and the crime fighting. Like, would that be enough for his character to just make his character still feel alive? I wonder, you know.
That's a huge radical shift, though, for him to, like, you know, he takes all of his money, kills his character of Batman, but also his persona of Bruce Wayne, or his real identity of Bruce Wayne. Alfred dies.
That was sad.
Yeah. And so it's just Batman, Carrie, and then the Sons of Batman. Yeah. Any last words? Something that you really want to talk about, or just want to tell what you thought about the comic in general?
I feel like we didn't talk much about just the storytelling techniques. We did mention a little bit that a lot of it is done through media and all of that, but
the art style is also very unique.
But also we see a lot of like characters' thoughts, you know, and I really like that too. And it reminds me of those like noir kind of movies, you know, where you hear the characters' thoughts as they walk down a dark alley, something like this. It really reminds me of that, and I really liked it so much. And
which is interesting, but it's because it's not just Batman, you know. At some point, I read the Joker's thoughts.
Oh yeah, you see it through a lot of like different perspectives.
And they color code them so that you know when it's blue, that's Superman thinking. That's true.
When it has like the weird like zigzaggy thing around, that's the Joker, because he's crazy.
But yeah, and of course the art style, which I thought was like very unique. You know, like we said at the beginning, we don't read that many comics, so maybe it was.
I really like that. For the most part, it was just like gray, like black and white grayish tones. But it did have colors in some aspects, like when Superman appears. You know, in all of the shots with Superman, you kind of see colors.
It's bright,
And even like colors, like you see the colors on his costume, the S, One thing in particular, even though all of the shots with Batman or with Bruce Wayne are very like dark in general, when he's with Clark, they're bright, like it's in the sunlight.
But he even makes mention of it, you know, like the sun and nature, and it's like it's out there for him, you know. Like it's coming out for him.
But I really like that, like to see Bruce Wayne like, you know, bright on a bright panel.
Right.
That's what I wanted to mention. That the art style is also and the story technique are also very interesting.
But yeah, all in all, I enjoyed this comic.
I did too. Yeah, and it's only 4 issues. It doesn't take long to read. Yeah. So I recommend you go read it.
Yeah. And with that, we have now finished this goal, which was reading The Dark Knight. We did it.
We did it.
One more goal done. Yeah. And if you guys want to see us finish more goals or make more videos about some of our dreams and goals, Please subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell to be notified
Notification
whenever
bell.
our next video drop. Like this video if you did. Comment in the comment section below and have a nice day. Still in the comic book realm, read The Dark Knight Returns. We're moving on to DC now, and if you're talking about like famous DC stories, there's a lot of them, but this is one that always comes up. For this one, I have to admit I've actually seen the animated movie based on this, so I know what it is about, but I've never read it, and I really want to. I don't think you have any idea what this is about, no?
No, but isn't this the title of one of the movies? No?
No.
Then I really have no idea what it is about. I mean, I assume it's about Batman.
There's Batman Returns, there's The Dark Knight, and there's The Dark Knight Rises. But yeah. Yes, it is about Batman, and I guess you will see what the story is when we read it, because it's on the list.